to another video. It's been a while since I last actually did this kind of video, but this is a chill session again. It's going to be quite a bit different in this particular video itself because the idea of it is definitely something that I consider to be a new idea, so I'm just merely testing this out, and if it does work out then that would be fantastic. I could actually implement it into the chill session series. But with that being said, please do leave your feedback on this particular variation of this chill session. Essentially what I'm going to do here is I have my World Chalice deck, and last time we already did a deck profile and even a test stand video for it, or multiple test stand videos to demonstrate what the deck could actually do. Now in this particular case, as you guys could already tell by the title, the particular video itself, or the purpose of this video, is for me to actually sort out all of this here and essentially decide to, I guess, get rid of a few of the cards in here that I feel don't really work as well, and that's based off my previous test hand videos and my previous deck profiles, so it's going to be very interesting. It's essentially a form of transcending the deck itself, so allowing the deck to evolve to a state in which it could actually compete to a much higher degree than what it already can at the current state. So with that being said here, I simply have the extra deck and I have the main deck itself. We're gonna sort through all of these into their respective types, and then we could actually just go through the deck and see what cards are necessary to actually remove or to keep. So this is essentially the deck now sorted out. So what I'm going to go here is simply just going through the deck and understanding, based off my previous experience with the deck itself, which cards are necessary. So right off the bat here, we have our World Chalice. This card is absolutely an essential. If anything, I would like to add more copies to the deck, but the shame is we can only play 3 copies. So if anything, I would try to find out more ways to actually access this card at a quicker rate, and that would be fantastic. I really want to open up with this card in every single hand. So with that being said, this card over here definitely will stay at 3 copies, that's for sure. And I'm going to put it up there. Then of course we have our Lee, the World Chalice. Again, it's one of those cards you want to be seeing in your hand because it allows you to recycle quite a bit of things as well. Lee has actually become more important than ever for the fact that it actually allows me to bring out Christia and Gameciel from the graveyard via Auram's effect. So it gives you this really nice combo to give Auram an actual viable play of some sort. So Lee is definitely quite amazing. At 3 copies, it's definitely a necessity. Moving on here, we have our Guard Dragon. Guard Dragon's very interesting because you don't necessarily need both of them, but if one of them gets banished in some sort of way, you always have the second one to actually access. So with that being said, I kind of want to actually use 2 in the deck just because it does have a graveyard effect that gets rid of itself. So yeah, 2 definitely works out for the deck itself here, and I wouldn't change that at all. Now moving on here, we have our actual normal monsters. Now out of these normal monsters, I have found that Crowned is actually one of the most useful ones for the fact that she's actually just able to special summon herself out via many different variations. Firstly with Unexpected Die, and she could also be revived with well, plenty of cards like Monster Reborn. Swing of Memories is great as well, but because we're playing the Draconet, it also acts as a viable target, so it's definitely very fantastic. So she is definitely going to stay in the deck for sure. Now as for Chosen and as for Beckoned, it's a bit different in this case. We don't really need to play both of them, and I'm thinking Beckoned's the one that I least play for the fact that Chosen can actually be brought out via E-Tally, which definitely gives him more viability. But I do think that 2 normal monsters actually just does plenty for the actual deck itself. So I'm sticking to just 2 copies of them and taking Beckoned out. You guys could definitely try to argue against that, and I'll definitely take your suggestions into consideration, that's for sure. And yeah, I'll just see whether or not it's a good decision to actually do that and stick to just 2 copies. Of course, I might increase the ratios of those 2, we just don't know yet. But moving on here, we also have Christia. I'm actually going to bring Christia as a staple in the deck itself for the fact that it's become quite a great lockdown together with Gameciel. So being able to pull them off via Auram's effect is absolutely amazing, and it's the reason why I'm playing Lee at 3 copies, or it's allowing me to continue playing Lee at 3 copies. So yeah, these 2 definitely fantastic for the deck. Next here we also have, I'm going to talk about the Rescue Ferret. Rescue Ferret is so specific, it's actually, if anything, kind of like a hindrance for the deck. It relies on you having already brought out yugioh, and this card's kind of exclusive for that, and it brings you 2 cards from your deck, but it does negate their effects, so kind of holds you back on Venus plays, because if you wanted to bring out Venus via Rescue Ferret, it wouldn't even be effective anyway. So for once, I'm actually going to take this out of the deck itself and see how things go. Speaking of which, the Draconets, definitely adding them in because we're choosing to play Crowned. I might even play a 3rd copy, but we'll just see later on. Next, of course, we're playing here the Exodius. Exodius allows you to recycle your deck. It's definitely a staple at 2 copies. I wouldn't bother going to 3 copies because if you drew into 2 of them, you're not really going to use it anyway. So 2 copies is definitely a really nice number. The Venus engine is also quite a crucial engine as well, so definitely I think the Venus engine is just something you have to play in all World Chalice decks. In any kind of World Chalice build, if you're not playing Venus, I just don't know what you're really doing, to be honest. So yeah, they stay for sure. Now the Codebreaker is a very interesting choice. This is definitely an engine that does work in the deck, and it makes for a good addition. It allows you to actually do quite a bit of plays. My only issue is it does kind of take up the extra deck space by 2 slots, so you kind of are held back in some sort of way. But for the time being, I'm going to put it in this special maybe pile, just in case we might want to add it back in if we have enough space for it. We have your Unexpected Die. You want to access your normal monsters quick, so Unexpected Die is nice, but we're only playing 1 because we don't really have many targets anyway, so it's no big deal there. We're also playing here the Transmodified, definitely nice for us to actually go into our Venus, and we have plenty of targets. Of course, we have Lee and we have the Shine Balls as well, so Transmodify going into Venus, just a really fantastic play, and 2 copies is definitely good as well. We also have here Swing of Memories. I figure with the amount of normal monsters we're playing, extensions like Swing of Memories, it's just worth it. We have here World Legacy's Heart, allowing you to actually bring back your World Chalice monsters from your graveyard to your hand. It's actually not too bad, but for once I might not actually use it. I might actually take that out of the deck because it just recycles 2 cards. It's not necessarily something I need, but of course leave me your suggestions on what you think about that. These cards here are all extenders, just special summons from the graveyard, so definitely. Teleport, same case. And over here we have our Kyoto Waterfront. Because I'm playing the Gameciel engine, I'm definitely playing 3 Waterfronts. And finally we have these 2 cards here. Sorrow, I'm actually thinking, if anything, I might even increase this to 2 copies. Because of how easy it is to co-link from all that playtesting, I found that Sorrow actually can be a very powerful card, so I'm going to actually increase it up. Next here we have, well, final card for the main deck is Pot of Avarice. Again, another card I've been thinking about bumping up to a 2nd copy, but for now, I definitely want to play at least 1 copy of it. So now we can move these cards aside from the main deck itself, and a few adjustments will be made to the ratios of these cards. and this will be in a maybe pile. But now let's actually look at the extra deck and what we actually need. So right off the bat here, we've been talking about the Aurum plays, so definitely we are playing Aurum for sure. Because we have the World Chalice being a crucial card, we also want to play our 2 copies of our Imduk because of the fact that it allows us to gain an additional normal summon. We also are playing the Link Spider, just really easy to just set yourself off and go with what you can here. And moving on, we're also going to be playing our 1 copy here of Ib. She doesn't come up as often, but she is still definitely a necessary card. So that's our 5 first initial cards for our extra deck. Now moving on with the rest of the extra deck over here, the boss monsters are definitely crucial. So cards like the Crusadia Avramax, cards like the Sayuja, and even cards like the Abomination, they're oddly actually very important for the deck itself. They're good boss monsters, they serve as also just great ways to extend your plays as well, with its link markers being very useful, so yeah, quite fantastic in that sense. But now we have these remaining cards here, and I can actually go for the Tregate Wizard only under the condition that I actually play these 2 particular nightmares, so Phoenix and Cerberus. And you know, they are definitely quite nice, so I might be able to fit it in, and that's what I'll do. So now we're left off with 4 spaces left. I did say I wasn't playing Metaltron anymore, that was meant to be a proxy for the Unicorn. So these are our final 4 choices, which would normally be in our extra deck. The issue is, these 2 take up additional space. So that's why I put them as a maybe pile, because they have their own engine on its own, which is fantastic and all. But we also have these 2 here, and it makes you wonder what other extra deck cards can we actually play. I want to play a bit more open-minded, so this would imply that I want to try out cards that allow me to do a bit more than what I currently can play. And I'm open up to taking all of your suggestions, so that would be fantastic. But Ningirsu, it doesn't come up as often anymore. I rarely use it. Same thing applies for the Unicorn. While it works in specific situations where I need the co-link down, it doesn't work all the time. So these 2 cards have been, honestly, they take up space for no reason, and most of my games I end up using all of the extra deck except for these 2. It's just always the case. So because of that, I'm actually gonna remove them from the extra deck, and this will allow me 2 bonus spaces technically to choose whatever cards I actually want to play as an alternative to those. So that would be fantastic. But with that being said here, now that we've actually done this adjustment, we do have the Codebreaker engine. I'm actually going to leave it up to you guys to decide whether or not I should keep the Codebreaker engine into my deck, because if I keep the Codebreaker engine, then I fill up the extra deck with 2 more extra deck cards, leaving me with only 2 spaces left over. And as for the main deck, I'm adding in a 0 day as well. So it's very interesting, but this was pretty much the idea of the first video here. It's obviously already becoming a very long video, but I got rid of the cards that I felt wasn't necessary for the deck itself. And while it's not that many, it can definitely help us affect the different ratios and readjust our plays in the deck itself to see how things can definitely improve. So yeah, it's definitely quite interesting. Definitely let me know what your thoughts are on this particular series itself. Was there more I could have done? Was there less? I tried to explain all of my justifications, which is why this video turned out to be so long anyway. And hopefully next time in the next video we will be actually talking about different alternatives. So we're going to be looking into different cards that actually might work for this deck itself. So definitely stay tuned for that. However, if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely drop a like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And of course, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you all next time.